Hi. For our assignment this week, I've chosen Watching a Beekeeper by Joan Davis. I chose this story because my dad's recently begun keeping bees, so he's always sharing interesting facts about bees and their processes in making honey and how important they are to America and all over the world in their agriculture and spreading of pollen. The other language in the classroom that I'll be accommodating is Spanish. So to start our lesson, I will do my best to make the best verbal translations I can in the Spanish language. And some interesting facts about Mexico is that it is one of the world's largest honey industries, or la miel. Mexico has its own version of our honeybee, which is known as the Mexican honey wasp, or Avispa mexicana de la miel. Honeybees play an important role in spreading pollen to produce more flowers and plants and provide jobs to many people all over the world. For this story, I've chosen 5 vocabulary words and are listed on our feature word wall of the week. The first is honeybee, with the Spanish translation of Avispa de la miel. The second is beekeeper, with the Spanish translation of apicultor. The third is hive, with the Spanish translation of colmena. The fourth word, which is an easier translation into Spanish, is pollen, with the Spanish translation of el pollen. The fifth word, also an easier translation, is nectar, with the Spanish translation of el nectar. So with these words, for the featured word wall of the week, the idea is that while the students are learning, practicing, and assessing on these words, they will remain with their English, Spanish, and a picture of the words that are indicated. They're covered right now, but will be uncovered later in the assignment. Once the words are assessed on at the end of the week, they will be transferred over to a standing word wall that will remain for the entire year. It's listed below the video, but it chose the A through Z format. Thought that would be the easiest for students who are searching for a word in writing assignments, or maybe are not understanding a word when they're reading. They'll be able to quickly and easily identify the word by the first letter, look up and see that picture and understand or re-jog their memory on what the meaning of the word may be. To begin thinking deeper about the meaning of the words, I will use the strategy of contextual redefinition and have the students guess what these words might mean. For this portion, it is completely acceptable that the students get the wrong definition. Without giving any type of hints or definitions or pictures, the student is only given the word. And from there, listed on the whiteboard, I'll give every student the opportunity, if they choose, to give a definition or an idea, a thought that they may have that may indicate what the word might mean. So those will be listed on the whiteboard. Then we'll work on creating contextual sentences that allow the students to use context clues and develop those skills to better define the words. So for instance, our word hive or colmena, a sentence that might be used for that word would be, I was playing outside when I heard a loud buzzing. Swarmed by bees, I saw them around a huge structure dripping with honey. So most students may be familiar with honey. If not, and allergies will allow it, having honey in the classroom, a little bit for each child to try, and maybe re-jog their memory on something they may have had in the past. Will allow them to maybe use words like honey or structure, knowing that it's a home for bees. They may be able to start to gather that that is the definition of the hive. Having the students' predictions and definitions displayed then will allow the students to alter their ideas. So if the words listed on the board, they can change their definitions, take away and add to what they believe that the word may mean. So at this point, they're getting a closer, more accurate definition without actually having used a dictionary or read the story at this point. Using more clues, we can uncover the pictures at this point so they'll have an idea of what a honeybee may look like. Or a beekeeper described in the story, their suit, the boots that are tied in close, and the screen net so they can still see out but not be attacked by the bees. Then a picture of the hive. A hive both in its natural habitat up in the tree and also a bee box, which is what the beekeeper in our story will be using. Then pollen is demonstrated with the flowers here, and nectar, another form of food collected by the bees from the flower. To help give the students a greater idea, I may even bring in an abandoned hornet's nest that I have just to show, although hornets may be a distant relative of the honeybee, they have the same general idea when it comes to the natural habitat of the bee. So all of this will aid and create a background of understanding before the students begin reading the story, which will help the students then understand the vocabulary a lot more easily. Once we begin reading the story, we'll go passage by passage, briefly summarizing each passage as we go, making sure that there are no students that are not understanding the use of the vocabulary in the text. The students, before beginning reading, will receive a card, a word card, where they can record their vocabulary words on the front. And then flipping over on the back, they can use some of the ideas we've recorded on the whiteboard, some context directly from the story, or an idea of what they believe the definition might be. This can be used for future use, and upon completing the story, the children will break off into pairs, compare their notes, and then make any alterations that are needed to make sure that everyone has an accurate idea of the definition. At the end, then I will record the definition of each and what is expected. So if there is anything that's been left out, anything that maybe a child was very off in their understanding of a word, then we can kind of pinpoint and work one-on-one with that student to see maybe where they missed some of the context clues. After completing the story for the activity, the students will break into pairs and compare their ideas listed on their word cards. From their ideas, the students will be asked to record a narrative that they will submit for grading, and both children will work together to use all vocabulary words to create this amusing narrative, however they like. It can be funny, it can be a personal experience, it can be anything as long as they use all their vocabulary words. The other student in the pair will then take that story and illustrate it. So they will work together to make sure that the story and the illustration matches, and that all ideas were collaborated together to make sure that both are on the same understanding. So with this use of vocabulary words and the activities and all of the concrete objects in the classroom, maybe flowers and things like that that can be brought in if allergies permit, then the goal would be that the students understand vocabulary words at the end of the lesson. Thank you.